Going on, dudes and dudettes? So an elite LA 2024 kicker slash punter and Ryon Sayeri, hope I'm saying that correct, did commit to USC earlier on today. So yeah, I guess they're getting one of the better talented guys. It's kind of weird for kickers. They're not really ranked and all that type of stuff, but if he's considered both and he's, the same player, you don't have to get multiple different positions, then he must be a pretty talented guy and might, try to get Dennis Lynch out of there because he's been pretty much up and down. He did kick some good field goals here and there for USC, but has missed a lot of, timely ones as well. So hoping to see what type of competition this gets out of both of them. Then PFF did do the highest graded punt returners in college football this year, and they only did a top 5, but at number 3 it was USC Zachariah Branch, which is obviously pretty cool because he had some of the best returns. A lot of the best things happened for him in the beginning of the year before he got hurt, and then sadly once he didn't do it as much or have as much success punting and kick returning, but that's just because they saw how good he was, and he was still ranked pretty high, even not even playing that many games. That probably did help because there wasn't enough bad stats to pull him back, basically, grade-wise, but they still understand the talent and know that if he would have been 100% healthy, then he probably would have gotten an even higher grade. So either way, it's good overall that a lot of these young USC guys are on these lists as well for some of the highest graded returning players at certain positions on the field, which is pretty cool. Yes, there was a 4-star linebacker in Jaden Smith who was released from his national letter of intent where he had signed, I guess, earlier in December with Michigan, but that was obviously before the whole news about Jim Harbaugh leaving for the NFL. And yeah, the defensive coordinator did end up staying, but he decided that he wanted to get released. They did allow him to, and now it looks like USC is trying to make a push for him. A lot of teams are trying to make a push for him, but USC was one of the highest ranked people to express interest, apparently, in trying to sign him. So we'll see if he could be added to the 2024 class. You never know, but to get another talented guy, especially stealing him basically from a rival coming up in the Big Ten, is always nice, like I say. So looking forward to seeing where he ends up going in the near future. There was this scenario or possibility where I think Adam Schefter put it out where the Chicago Bears can draft Caleb Williams #1 overall and still keep Justin Fields. I think I mentioned this months ago, a while back, where if I was running the Bears, I would do this because you end up not losing anything because, yeah, you can try to get whatever you can for Justin Fields, who is the Bears quarterback right now. You probably could get first-round picks and all that stuff, but if you're smart, you let these guys have a nice quarterback competition over the summer leading into the season. Whoever wins that quarterback battle, and then the second string, you could obviously put him up on the trade block and see if you can get any offers for any desperate teams out there once the season starts. And it could also be insurance too, in case that guy the first string ends up getting hurt, and then you could throw in the other person and second string as your starter. Then you're all ready to go because that person is just as talented or pretty close to it. So I think I've talked about this before. It would be pretty risky just because then if some pretty big injury happens to either of them, especially like Justin Fields, who is older in this scenario, then it could hurt his stock and the ability if you to get more draft picks or players back later in this scenario. But either way, I still think it's something and a possibility that they can do. And yes, the Duke basketball team did have a couple of nice wins since we last spoke over the weekend, and I think Monday as well. I think on Saturday they beat Boston College 80-65. Mark Mitchell had 17 points and 7 rebounds. Then Monday they also beat Wake Forest 77-69. Kyle Filipowski had 21 points and 10 rebounds as well, and I believe they are still ranked number 9 in the AP poll. So yeah, you are beating up some of these cheaper teams that you're supposed to still patent your stats and make your record look good heading into March, but this is what we expected them. Yeah, that Wake Forest game was a bit close than what we wanted, but they still got that victory nonetheless. And then, yeah, even over the weekend, the Duke women's team had a big win over their rival North Carolina and got that victory 68-60. Delaney Thomas of Duke had 19 points and 7 rebounds as well. So yeah, congrats to them. They've had a pretty up and down season just because they've had a pretty tough out of conference schedule playing really good teams. Like, I think they played South Carolina, and I know they were out here in California playing against Stanford, who is a top 5 ranked team. But overall, I think those players will get better, and with recruiting, they should be able to, try to get into the NCAA tournament and win that thing eventually. So looking forward to their future. And then, yeah, Grayson Allen the other day had a pretty crazy game. I believe he had 14 assists with 0 turnovers and even like 4 shot attempts or something like that. And it was like the first time since like 2001 that a player had that stat line. But it's obvious that it was a really good game for him, and it was a career high for him as well in the NBA. So that was nice. And I'm still kind of wondering, and even a lot of people on social media have been also questioning that if this guy is leading the NBA in three-point percentage and makes, and why is he not in the three-point competition? Like I said before, I think it might be because maybe he already planned a visit or a vacation somewhere that he couldn't refund or take it back, so he had already did it, so that's why he's just not going to end up being there. But I have not heard him say anything like that in an interview that he did that or he was not invited or something like that. So I'll do a little bit more deep dive to see what I end up finding. But yeah, it's still a shame to not have one of the better three-point shooters this year in the contest, in my opinion. Yes, the other day the Toronto Raptors did sign ex-Duke champion Justice Winslow to a 10-day deal or contract, whatever it is. It's probably coming up soon, already going to be done, so hopefully they will convert that into a regular contract for him to stay on for the rest of the year. So they definitely need it. It's not like they're going to make the playoffs and do something big in the playoffs if they do. So hoping this ex-Duke player gets a chance to stay in the NBA for a little bit. And then, yeah, they recently did a top 10 of the NBA rookie power rankings or something like that so far. And ex-Duke player Derek Lively was ranked number 4. Overall, I don't know if this is like basically saying this is the leaders and not leaders of the rookie of the year award list, but if it is, and it's obvious that they still have higher regard for Derek Lively of Duke, and that's even with him missing some time in between this whole entire season. But when he's been out there and healthy, he's been really useful for Luka Doncic and the Dallas Mavericks. So yeah, overall, looking to see where he ends up in the final voting for Rookie of the Year, but he's most likely, sadly, not going to be able to win it. And then, yes, JJ Redick, he making a big move because he was kind of here and there on different games calling for ESPN and ABC, but apparently he will be joining the main trio broadcast that will be doing the finals for ABC and ESPN in a couple months. But he will join that team that do like the main Saturday night or something like that game for ABC, ESPN. I think that's with Mike Breen and Doris Burke, and that's because Doc Rivers, the ex-head coach for Boston, who was there as that third person, decided to go coach for Milwaukee, and now that spot was obviously open, and I guess they always used 3 because it was always like Mark Jackson and Jeff Van Gundy, but they moved on from those 2 a little bit ago, and now it had been Doris Burke and Rivers, but now it will be JJ Redick in there as well, which is pretty cool because everybody likes him. He's always moving on up in this industry, so I'm definitely very happy for him to see his success as well. And then, yeah, the other day it was kind of interesting. I saw that the Anaheim Ducks had invited a handful of NFL players that will be basically going to the NFL Combine and the draft this year. And in that group of players, it was both Dwayne Carter, the ex-Duke defensive lineman, and Jackson Powers. No, let me get his name correct. I want to show him some respect. Yes, Jackson Powers Johnson, the ex-Duke center, and obviously these are two guys that I would like the Chargers to draft, and I thought it was kind of interesting that they were at one of my teams and they've been hanging out in California, but it is also, California is also, especially Southern California, is a big place where a lot of guys get ready for stuff like this, the NFL draft, or even in the off season they come here and, regulate and get better, rehab, and sometimes even work out with a lot of the coaches and trainers out here. So it's not that surprising, but it'll be pretty cool and kismet if they end up becoming Chargers in the near future. So I will be happy about that. And speaking of those Ducks, yes, they're on still a bit of a losing streak. They lost to the Edmonton Oilers the other day. I think it was, 3-5, and then lost to the Montreal Canadiens 0-5, which sucked pretty bad. So, yeah, not looking good for them. Like I said before, most likely their playoff chances are gone, but we'll see how they end up doing the rest of the year. And then, yeah, congrats to Noah Gray, who is a tight end for the Kansas City Chiefs, who is an ex-Duke player, who was someone I had some bit of interest in that game, even though I was rooting for the 49ers to win. And, yeah, that game was pretty crazy, when you really think about it. I did write down some stuff because when you think about the over-under for that game, like total points score, it was, according to Vegas, 47.5. And the final score was 47. That's kind of interesting. And the game was in Vegas, too. And I think they said, betting-wise, they had the 49ers at -2, which means basically they still kind of believe that the Chiefs had a chance to at least win by 1 or something. I don't know what that means. But in the end, the Chiefs did still win by almost that amount of 2 points. But they won by 3 points in their favor. 1 more than that, it's still kind of adding up, but like I said, it was in Vegas. And yeah, there was a lot of stuff about the overtime rules and which team or which players didn't know, obviously. And I don't think the 49ers really knew what the rules were. And even it was pretty crazy because even though the clock was going down as Kansas City was about to score near the end of that overtime, I didn't realize at the time that if the clock went 0 and they decided not to run a play right there, then it would have been just going on to the next overtime because it was still part of their first possession of that overtime, which is pretty crazy because maybe that's why 49ers were lackadaisical on defense and kind of thought they were just going to let the clock run out and not run another play, and that's why that guy was wide open. But yeah, either way, it was a tough loss. I feel sad for my family members who are fans of the 49ers, but like I told them, I'm a Chargers fan, so I'm pretty sure they will be back in the Super Bowl before my team will be, even with this Jim Harbaugh signing. But either way, congrats to both teams on overall success, and yeah, hoping that Jim Harbaugh will at least help bring down this Chiefs dynasty out there in Kansas City. So that's what I'm hoping for. Yes, thanks for watching, people. Like and subscribe. Comment down below. Let me know what y'all think. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.